For the late start, but we are here.
Yes.
And you guys know that I like to just get right into it. All right. So, greetings, greetings, greetings to everyone. I appreciate your presence here with us on this fine day. Thank you in abundance. For all the newcomers, I appreciate you being here because you could select it to be anywhere else, but you chose to be here. And for that, I am truly grateful. Well, with that being said, would you please be able to hit that like, touch that notification button, and hit that subscribe? And please share this content because it's going to be definitely fulfilling, and I would appreciate that from you. For those who have been rocking with me for a while, I truly appreciate your dedication and your loyalty. I really, really respect that. Thank you so much. Truly means a lot. All right, so the topic for today on KSheaO's channeling sessions on Catalyst Conversations will be narrated by my brother, and we're going to have a nice conversation about him being a father, being a husband, and how he integrate all of that together with mastering himself. And let's go into this. I have seen the beautiful and handsome bloom from my brother. I've seen the blossoming maturity from him from when I've known him to this point, and I'm truly proud of everything that he's ever endeavored in. He's always been successful at it, and he's an astute mentor and an astute man of confidence. And I truly appreciate that about him. I appreciate the energy that he put out. I appreciate the type of role model he is. He is a wonderful father, and he's an amazing, amazing husband, and he has a beautiful wife, and I truly respect his family and his craft and everything that he's endeavoring in. And I want to introduce to you guys my brother Norvale Duerson. How you doing, my brother?
What's up, sis? What's up? I appreciate that warm welcome.
Yeah, no
Bunch of
worries.
kind words. Takes a village. I'm a representation of people around me, like you. That help lead the way for sure, for sure. So I
I
appreciate
appreciate
that.
I appreciate that, bro. I truly appreciate that. So, with that being said, bro, can you let us know what you tapping into right now, what you're endeavoring in, what you about? What can we get from you?
Yeah, sure. So, first of all, I'm really digging into fatherhood times three. On the 1st of February, I welcome my third child, my baby girl. So, definitely thanking God for a healthy delivery with the baby and my wife being straight and everything. It's definitely a blessing. So, I'm full fledged in fatherhood, man. I got three under three now, so I'm a big daddy now, or father figure. I don't got no dad bod, but I got father figure. But no, good stuff. Trying to be a great father, a great husband, and trying to be great. Trying to do the right stuff, trying to do God's work out here.
Absolutely. That's what's up. And I truly appreciate that. I appreciate just, the opening of that so people can see the representative of the type of individuals that I know and that are out here. You supporting your family. You're there for your children. You're there for your wife, but you also there for yourself. That's the most important component in order to hold all that together. And I truly appreciate that. So with that being said, I just want to know, so, how has it been with the balancing of your family with the professional and personal life? And how are you able to integrate the two? But also, how are you able to distribute the best of you in each category?
Yeah, now that's a phenomenal question. Um, it's been challenging. I'm not even gonna lie and say it's been easy. It's been a piece of cake. It's definitely been a learning experience. Me and my wife got married in 2018, and we hit the ground running. I met her in 2017, and we were married like walking down the aisle in 2018. That's how fast things progressed, and we had our first child in 2019, second child in 2021, and baby girl 2 weeks ago or 20 days ago, 21 days ago. So we got three under three, and we're still working on our marriage while trying to be phenomenal parents as well. So it has not been a crazy easy journey, but I couldn't have picked a better woman to do life with. And my kids, my boys and my baby girl, just make me better. So I'm definitely humbled at the journey. Definitely up to the challenge that it has been, kind of balancing all of those things. But it definitely has not been easy. Multifaceted for sure. Some of the hardest things is just trying to distribute your time. I work. I'm a industrial engineer by trade, but right now I'm production manager. I'm managing people at a multi-million dollar operation, and it's demanding. It's a huge responsibility, and my wife um, stays home and raises our family full time. So I go out and I make sure that I'm handling things financially. So it's a huge responsibility, and this is how I put food on the table. So it's like a priority, but at the same time, my family is a priority. Not letting work in my career endeavors, get the best of me where I'm neglecting my home. So just setting up those guardrails and saying, hey, I'm not working 12 hours a day. I'm not working 14 hours a day. I'm taking my behind home. Or, in those instances where, I need my wife to show me a little bit of grace, like, hey, babe, I got to work late today. Making sure I'm on FaceTime, making sure I'm present, at home when I do get those breaks or whatnot in the office, really helps. And, communication. Me and my wife, we're in lockstep. It's not just me in the office. She supports me so that I can do what I need to do in the office. And, she supports me in a gazillion other different things, man. I'm doing so many things sometimes it makes my head spin. But, without her supporting me, I wouldn't be able to have that balance.
Communication, support, like that is huge in conjunction with boundaries. That's what I pulled out of all of that. So it's very important and imperative that you make sure that there is a equilibrium within yourself in order for you to allow that equilibrium to radiate out of you in a natural fashion for you to balance the house, your wife, your children, and being at work. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
sometimes some people feel like that is a cumbersome task, even if they're just by themselves. You know what I mean? So,
hmm
with that being said, what are the things that you implement into your daily routine to make sure that you are pristine on all of your executions throughout the day?
Yeah. I try and be very mindful of my time. That's where a lot of the discipline comes from. Like, I don't have the time to just do nonsense things. And it's not like it was like a very intentional like boundary that I put in place, but you'll see as you start to really focus on your priorities, which is my family, which is, my job, making sure I'm putting food on the table and some of the other things that God has put on my heart to do, making sure I'm focusing on those priorities, things start to fall to the wayside. And you see, like, I don't really need that. Like, I don't really watch a lot of television. Like, I don't really take in a lot of that type of entertainment anymore. And you'll see how much time you get. I don't really sleep in anymore, and a lot of that was like forced from my kids. Like, hey, we up. It's 5 a.m. Let's get it going. But it's like you don't really have time to get 9, 10 hours of sleep, sleep in on a weekend or anything like that. Like that's time that you need to be mindful of. And, I don't know who coined the term or, who made it cliche, but time is one of those resources that you can't get back. So it's a very valuable resource. So I'm always trying to be mindful of my time. So when I look at the day, I'm very planful. I'm very planful with my schedule and making sure that I'm not overbooking myself or overcommitting things. Because I'm the type of guy where, if I'm going to be a part of something or if I'm going to work on something, I want to do it to my best ability. And, there's no such thing as multitasking. People say it all the time, like, hey, I'm a great multitasker, but you're really just splitting your time, strategically amongst a multitude of different things. So I try and just really be mindful of how much I'm multitasking because in actuality, it's probably taking me a longer time to get things done. So I just be mindful of that, and I'm utilizing my time and get to work. and focus on the priorities because you're not going to be able to do it all for sure. You're never going to be able to do it all. So you just got to pick and choose and say, hey, this is what's important to me, and this is what I'm going to move forward with.
Prioritization is key, and I can see the strategic planning and everything that you are articulating right now. And I think some people, they lose track of the prioritization piece, and then somewhere is in lack, you know. So it's like they are so superimposed on everything that they're doing because they don't understand that boundary setting that you stated before. Like, hey, I'm not about to commit to you 16 hours. I have
Yeah,
12, or I have 10, a strong 10 that I can give you. But it's all about it's all about you saying no. And it's okay to say no, you know? But in conjunction with that, it's also good for you to be able to prioritize your time, because with all that being said, you have to prioritize you first. So how do you incorporate you into the mix of all of these things that you are balancing?
yeah, yeah. Um, that's something I'm still working on. You know,
Hmm.
um, it's one of those things where sometimes I need to just take, a few hours to do something, and I'll talk to my wife and say, hey, can I work on this? Can I work on that? And she'll be like, yeah, go do what you got to do, and it'll give me kind of that short reprieve to go and knock out a book I've been wanting to work on, or play the video game, or something like that. Something that brings me joy. Watch some anime. Those things that I don't really have a lot of time to do anymore. One thing that my wife, she's phenomenal. Um, shortly after we had our firstborn trip, uh, I was getting that marching band itch, and I was like, man, I need to hear some bands, like I'm just, I feel so far removed. Like, I went and, a year from, husband to hold on, single guy, I'm in a committed relationship now, but now I'm married and now I got a baby, now I'm a father. And, it was like a culture shock for me. And it was like, how can I get a little bit of a reprieve? How can I get a little bit of break? And I was like, "Hey, you mind if I go to this classic, and listen to some bands?" And she was like, "Nah, go." And I went for the weekend. I was able to see my alma mater, UAPB, and I think it was the S, maybe. Yeah, I
Okay.
think it was. In Little Rock for the weekend, and that was dope. It was like a dope weekend. I got to see some friends, got to hear some good bands, and I got that itch out my system, and was able to get back to homeostasis and come back home and hit the ground running.
One thing I appreciated what you stated, you was like, I went and I had asked my wife, like, hey, do you feel like it's okay? And I just want to put this out here, this disclaimer. It's not as much as him asking permission, but it's more so a respect thing that they have in their marriage. And people get that twisted, like, oh,
Yeah,
well, let me go ask permission or ask for the approval of my significant other if I can go somewhere. Don't get that twisted with respect, you know?
right.
You know what I'm saying? That's that open communication that you have with your significant other, where you be able to talk to them about any and everything, and then see, hey, is this all right with you? If it's not, then okay, we can definitely talk about it or discuss it. Or is there something on your mind? Or is it, you know what I'm saying? Do you want us to do something together? Because I've done been out for so long. But I really appreciate that piece. And a lot of people get that misconstrued as if, like you just need this, band of approval from somebody else in order for you to do something. So tell me, how do you integrate that piece with you guys and having that good, effective communication in order for you to be able to carry the load that you do carry so people can understand?
I think it's just continued effort. It's never going to get perfect. It's one of those things that you can always get better at. And to your point, the whole mixing up asking permission with just baseline communication and respect.
Hmm.
I did that. Me and my wife had to have those conversations where it was like, hey, you know, I tell her like, hey, the homie on the way, Kim on the way to the house, and she's like, oh, you wasn't gonna tell me about it? It's like, well, I gotta ask permission from my best friend to come over to the crib. Like, you know him. What do you mean? Like it's not like that. But we had to sit down, and she had to help me understand. That it's not necessarily you asking for permission. This is your home. You can do what you want to. You're grown. You're my husband. I respect you. You're the man in the house. Type deal. But it was more so, hey, give me that respect. and communicate. And when she explained it to me, that was like, oh, I get it, and that's why I say I'm so grateful for my wife because like she's refined me in ways, I cannot even imagine. Like she's the definition of a help me, like legitimately my rib, like I'm nothing without her. Like we gel so much together. Like we make each other better, and she's
Mhm.
definitely made me better in a gazillion different ways. So yeah, that's not something that, I just knew right off the bat. She had to coach me. She had to educate me for real.
Mhm. And that's awesome. I want to also pull out a piece of withdraw a piece out of what you were saying. So it's not just communication, it's effective communication because you could be
Mm,
talking to somebody all day, but it's like you're talking to a brick wall and the information is not being processed, digested. You get what I mean? So sometimes you could, and to another extent, sometimes you could be talking to a person, but they just don't understand you. They don't
yeah,
understand you, period. So it takes a certain level of understanding, understanding, overstanding in order for you to be able to incorporate principles of balance for self and of you guys' relationship in terms of the respect piece. And it's
yeah,
also a way that you do communicate, all in the tone of your voice, how you
hmm,
project and what you're saying, because sometimes some things can come off mad aggressive, no matter how valid you are, you know, the way that you
yeah,
say it to a person, they may not receive it, because you like, hey, I'm mad aggressive with my approach, but I know what I'm saying is fact, but they're not going to take it in because they don't want to receive that type of energy that's invoked into that message. So I appreciate that dynamic that you guys have built where you listen to her, she listen to you, and then y'all can have that balance in that high vibrational energetic field within your home, and that's important for the children, you know what I mean? So with
yeah.
that being said, how do you keep yourself positive? How do you keep yourself in a whole place with the communication piece and being there providing for your children, but also getting that balance for yourself back?
Yeah. Um, on the stand positive piece, I don't think that's really tough for me, and it's I don't think of it as a negative or a con to be overly positive or optimistic because I think I've pretty much just like one of my innate abilities that comes natural to me to look at the glass as half full and not half empty to see the good in things to give everybody the benefit of the doubt because at the end of the day I'd much rather be wrong about assuming somebody is doing the wrong thing instead of somebody doing the right thing. Basically, I want to give everybody, the benefit of the doubt. I think when we assume malice in people, it like throws off the balance of things. So, when I'm communicating to anybody, especially my wife, I try and use a tone that she doesn't assume that I'm on nonsense, and I don't assume that she's on nonsense with something that I say. I think before I speak. We haphazardly just blurt things out, and that's a trap in and of itself. When we just talk without thinking, um, it leads to problems. And sometimes I might be feeling something, um, and emotions are fleeting. They change very fast, and a lot of emotions could come from misconceptions. So me kind of relying or no not assuming ill intent or malice when I'm communicating with people, especially my wife, it helps me stay positive. So even if she might have said something that perturbed me, or I want to talk about something that I think may be wrong, I'm not going to go into it think like, oh no, you wrong, what's happening here, what's happening there. And that makes it easier for me to stay positive. um, we talk a lot. I tell her about my dreams, I tell her about my aspirations, I tell her about my wins, I tell her about my losses. We communicate, and we have that understanding back and forth where she's in it with me. We have these kind of roles and kind of gender status is set up or whatnot, where a man is supposed to, be tough and go out and, make the money and, all that old, narcissistic stuff that kind of leads us down a path where we can't be our genuine selves. I tell my wife one, something frightens me. I tell my wife when I'm sad. I bear that emotion to her so that she, gets a deeper, understanding or understanding of me. And likewise with her, if you don't have that communication, it makes things tough. And with that, I stay balanced. When you can just be yourself, you don't feel like I'm putting on a show, or I'm trying to, stay strong for my wife. We keep each other strong. So that means we got to keep it a buck. We got to keep it 100. And without that, you'll lose yourself. Because you won't have any reprieve. You won't have anybody to run to or anybody to speak to. So hope that answers your question. I know it's kind of rambling a little bit, but yeah.
That does answer my question, and I can definitely identify and resonate with what you're saying. So this is a whole nother fold to communication. When you communicating with your loved one, with your spouse, with your significant other, sometimes we may feel like I can only communicate to them when things are positive, or I can only communicate to them when things are, happy or in the up and up. And if you were to have that type of stigma or paradigm in a relationship, like you stated, it don't really allow you to be your genuine self, because not all the time we're feeling positive. I may have asked you, like, yeah, how do you maintain your positivity? But it's a maintenance, because sometimes life can throw you blows, and then your whole mood can be affected. You know what I mean? And then that mood, within that mood that you feel affected in, you want to express that to your spouse. And sometimes it may not come off in the most positive fashion, even though it's not aimed towards them. It's like you're just trying to get some of that Anna off your chest. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's really a beautiful dynamic to know that you have the ability to communicate with your wife, and your wife have the ability to communicate with you in whatever season of mood that you are in, but you always articulate it with respect, so that on the receiving end, she can process it to where she can give you whatever you need for whatever you're going through, and vice versa. And I just want to, like, have people understand, like, when you feel like that you can only be one way in a relationship, then some things need to be modified, or you just have to make some serious decisions, because you don't ever want to lose yourself when you're in a relationship. You don't, because sometimes we get caught up in being just mere pacifists. You know what I'm saying? All right, let me do this so to in mere avoidance. Let me do this so that it's not an argument, or let me do this so that it's not contention. It's totally different from, all right, let me take a step back and reevaluate my approach before I articulate this to my wife. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's two totally different facets, and I do appreciate, like, the mental intelligence that you have, to be able to communicate with her on that level, and she communicate with you, because you don't see that often in a lot of relationships. They fail because of the effective communication piece.
Yeah.
So, what are some tips that you can provide to those who want to build um, effective communication for themselves within their relationship? What can they do?
Go to counseling. That's one of the hidden gems. A lot of people are, um, I want to say that maybe got uh, preconceptions about it, like, oh, if you got to go to counseling, your marriage is on the rocks. It's not true. Like you said the word maintenance. That's what it is. You're maintaining your communication. You're maintaining your communication style, and you're working on your marriage through counseling. And sometimes you need a third party to help with that. Um, I was skeptical of it, and it wasn't until you know a my uncle, who's been married, 30 years. And he's like, man, we went to marriage counseling. And when we got out of marriage counseling, we continued to go to counseling, not just, together, but individually. And, that was like an Easter egg, man. That was unlocked for us. And, when you go to counseling, you have somebody else to hear what's going on that can really help, I don't know, put the pieces together when you can't as easily. And, once you learn, using kind of someone from the outside looking in to look at, hey, I hear what both you guys are saying. Did you think about it this way? Did you think about it this way? Explain it a different way. You start to build on that, and you start to learn those tools, and then you can implement them in your own relationship, and it makes things easier. A lot of relationships probably do fail because of lack of communication, because we assume that people understand, or we have these expectations that our significant other knows what we're thinking, or that they're mind readers or something. I tell my wife all the time, like, babe, if you don't tell me, I don't know.
Yeah.
If you didn't physically communicate to me, I don't do nonverbal communication. That's not the most efficient style for me. I'm
Mhm.
such a logical thinker, and I'm blind at that. There are certain things that she may be communicating to me nonverbally that completely go over my head. And she's gracing me and helping me with her communication so that I understand and that I can react. Because without that, it's either gonna go over my head, or I'm gonna misinterpret the nonverbal and go off into something else. So good advice is go to counseling, man, and it humbles you. You're never too old or too good to learn and get some feedback, man. Go to counseling for sure.
Absolutely. I do appreciate that. And another piece I would like to throw in there is another way that could help with a communication piece is writing. My husband and I, we have like a journal that we'll get in, and if we don't feel like we can verbalize whatever we're saying, we write it down in a journal. And we've
Mm,
been having this journal for years, and
mm,
it has archived like so many things that we have worked out through just writing, towards to one another. So if he don't feel like articulating something, or I don't feel like talking about it, he'll just point to the journal, or he'll text, or I'll text him. I'm like, all right, just go look in the book,
that's
and
dope.
he'll go look in the book, and
That's
then he'll read it.
dope.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes it's like you just don't feel like talking about it, especially when you've been in a relationship for so long, y'all, done been through so much. It's like, all right, it's multiple forms of communication that can be put in place, because I know I was that person. Like, if it's nonverbal, baby, I don't understand. But I was like, so what else that is nonverbal that can be incorporated in order for us to be able to continue effective communication on a plethora of levels? Because
Hmm.
I'm just a
Hmm.
natural writer. I just get up and just write, just for no reason or a reason. So that has definitely, like helped us, and or drawing something out, or like making something for one another. You know what I mean? Or go old school with it. I did a message in a bottle one time. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, make it look nice, and like, here, just do what you want. You know what I'm saying? And then, just sometimes you come up with creative ways to be able to speak, to your significant other, or, just anything that's that can be communicatable. That is definitely a beautiful piece. Um, so I want to know another thing. What is it that you can do to build a bond greater in the household? You know what I mean? Like with your kids, because sometimes you may be away for, like you say, 10 or 12 hours throughout the day, and they don't see you, and they more see mommy. You know what I'm saying? What do you do as daddy to, help bond with the kids and things of that nature? Not saying that you don't have a bond with them, but it's some people who they work so much that their children don't get to see them. And by the
Yeah.
time that they see them, they going off to bed.
Yeah.
So what do you do, or what kind of tips that you can provide to those who may be experiencing that?
No, that's a great question too. Set those boundaries, man. When I'm in the house, and again, these are probably boundaries that I did set, but I've been doing it for so long that it's become habit, that it's just natural now. But most of the time when I'm in the house, playing with the kids, I don't even know where my phone is. You know, we bring a lot of things from outside of the home into the home, whether it's work, whether it's issues, but when I break the threshold of my home, my boys are running at me, "Daddy," and it's just I forget about everything else, and the put down my phone and everything, and now what she knows is daddy time, it's husband time, and that makes me more present with my children and with my wife. It's one thing if, the kid's just sitting up, watching TV, and, I'm on my phone scrolling mindlessly, and the wife is maybe doing the same thing or something like that. We don't do that. So it's just setting up those boundaries so that we can be mindful of our time because, outside of just, oh, I work all day, you never know how much time you got on this earth. Anything can change at any given time, and I want my kids to know that I love them, and I want them to see that firsthand while I'm here. So I try and spend that time with them, um, and set up those boundaries so that there's not a lot of distractions. My best friends will tell you I might be on the phone with them on the ride home from work or something like that, or somebody might call me before I get in the house or I'm running errands. But they hear as soon as those keys turn, and they hear the boys, "Daddy," it's like, "All right, bro, I'm gonna call you back."
Time to
You
go.
know, they already know what time it is. It's like, "All right, bro, go ahead." I already know, and that's the type of respect that we have, for each other. When it's family time, it's family time. So those are some of the things that I've done to really make sure that I'm focusing on the fam when I'm there, and building those bonds and those relationships for sure.
But it takes a certain type of internal respect in order for you to be attracted to respect to come to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because if a person don't really respect themselves, how can you expect to receive respect on the external spectrum? And that's what I can definitely see, like within you. Like you have a certain level of respect for yourself that you hold to a high standard. So with that being said, everybody have to act accordingly. Like you're gonna have to get on this wave of respect that I have for myself. And if you don't have
big
it, then
facts,
I have no room for you. I have
big
absolutely no.
facts,
And
big facts.
that's where the boundaries have been, it's incorporated to the point to where it don't even have to be spoken. They already know. You know what I mean? Like now
Yeah,
it that right there is so commendable within itself, and I truly appreciate that shared that piece with us, and that's truly, truly important. And another piece, being present. We are in the social media and technology age to where is a vast absorption of technology consumes our day, whether it's a necessity at work or a necessity for time for decompression. You know what I'm saying? Everybody feel like technology have to be directly integrated in everything that they do. So as you
hmm,
stated, it's like you get mindlessly engaged into something that's of no substance while you're missing out on everything else that's around you.
yeah,
On precious moments, on their growth, on what they're doing that's new, just paying attention to their natural rhythm. That's so important, and your own rhythm as well, listening to yourself, knowing what you, because sometimes you could just get so over consumed with just the TV and the social media and what's happening on this app and what's happening on YouTube that you lose yourself. And I'm so
yeah,
glad that you have purposely implemented, like, hey, this time is for us. It's like you make it sacred. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And I
That's what
think
it
that
is.
is so, so, so beautiful. And a lot of people, they don't really understand on how to make their household sacred because they don't know how to, what I'm saying, retrieve that arena of being sacred within self. Because I think that's where it all starts, like internally. And I'm glad, like, from a male perspective, you are articulating that to people. You are telling that, you're delivering that with compassion. Like you can see, like, this is not nothing that is phony or fly by night. This is serious. This is something that I do on a day to day basis. This is my routine. This is me. And I truly appreciate that. I truly, truly do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we need more present parents. You know, I know life. Everybody's walk is different. Everybody has different struggles and everything, and that's why we're here to kind of uplift each other. But we got to really start to give it to each other straight, and it's not more so cutting people off, but it's just really, holding ourselves accountable, and you know, holding others accountable with compassion. I got friends that, I can no longer spend that amount of time with just because of, the way that you live your life, or, some of the choices that you've made, or, and I say friends, but I mean like past friends, previous friends. I wouldn't consider them, a friend now just because of their the amount of time we spend together or in each other's lives. Because it's like, hey, I don't rock with guys that don't take care of their kids. What do you mean? You want to call
Right.
yourself my friend? And it's like I hear you saying all this wild, spicy stuff about, you know, baby mama this, baby mama that, and the kid this, the kid that, and you're not really taking care of your responsibilities. And it's like that's not how I get down. And at first glance, I'm like, hey man, no, this that sounds weird. That's not how we do. And if they're receptive to that feedback, not that I'm the end all be all, that I just got it all figured out, but just so that we can hold each other accountable and help each other, iron sharpens iron, then we can move forward. But if they're not receptive to that, and it's like, all right man, you don't have ears to hear, and I just got to keep it pushing. But I can't be associated with that type of energy or drama, because that's just not how I get down. um, and I'm trying to surround myself with like-minded people so that we can continue to do the right work out here, and set the right tone, and lead by example. So yeah.
That's real. You are the company that you keep. That's very
Mhm.
real. It's no point in you having people surrounding you who can potentially drain you or feeding you energy that is unnecessary. Because a lot of times it's like when somebody come at you with some negative energy, some of that stuff still sit with you. And then you wondering why later in the day why you feeling sluggish or you feeling like, imbalanced. Like, dang, why do I feel like that? And then when you really start to take a look at it, you realize it's like because I was with that low vibrational being earlier. That's why I feel like this. So it's almost like you have to do like a self detox away from that energy because you don't want to keep feeling that, throughout your day. So I can definitely identify with that. And I truly appreciate you sharing that piece because that's truly, truly important. Do you have any last things that you would like to deliver or wrap up or tell anybody about?
uh I don't know. I guess just keep grinding. Stay hungry out here. you know um the plate might seem like it's full, or stuff might seem like it's not going according to plan, but keep pushing, keep rocking, because God is good. And if you really think about it, we all blessed, just because you woke up on the right side of the ground, and that means that you got another chance to make it happen. So keep grinding, man. I've had some setbacks, and I thought it was like, hey, I can't do this. But it really just was timing. It's not that you can't do this. It's just like not right now thing. Um, a big one was, law school. I moved out here with my wife, in 2019. And, God had put on my heart to go to law school so I can get back to the community a little bit more. And, that's it's like, hey, man, this is my shot at rewarding work, but, understanding the responsibility that I have to my home and to make sure that I'm taking care of things, financially when I got to work full time. So, how do I balance that? So, it took me a while, but I finally got into law school, and I'm starting in the fall. But the journey leading up to that from 2019 was not easy. Like it was like some valleys, man, where I was like, dog, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, God, is this really where you led me? Like I'm not really understanding this right now, and last year, I got denied. It was like, hey, you couldn't get in, and then, it crushed me for a second. But I had to take that loss and that setback and be like, I'm not going to stop, because I trust in God and His promises. What He put on my heart, stuff like that just don't happen for no reason. And 2 weeks later, I was getting a call, like, hey, it's just your application time was off. Here your acceptance letter, you in for next year. And I was like, that's God showing out again, and blessing me. But it's just, showed me obedience, and to just stay hungry, and keep grinding, and stuff will start to work out if you stay, stay true to the game, stay true to the hustle. It's beauty in the struggle, so keep hustling, keep grinding, But that's my parting words, man. Keep putting on for the people, keep trying to make the world a better place.
That's so dope. Being accountable to your assignment, to your natural assignment. What you
Yeah.
feel like your intuition and your discernment is telling you that you you need to do, you know? And when you know that it's your assignment, no matter what the struggle looking like, no matter what challenges that you may face, you still manage to persevere. And it
Yeah.
really showed you your true power within. It showed you how powerful you were. You may not have seen that same power last year when you got that denial letter, but when you kept pushing and you saw what you was capable of, you did it. It happened. You know what I'm saying? You trusted the process. And I truly appreciate that because there's a lot of people when they are in the face of adversity, they will fold and they
Yeah.
will not revisit it again. And the thing is, sometimes we have to get uncomfortable in order to know ourselves better, because when we're just in the midst of comfort all the time, we get complacent, we get stagnant, we feel like we're stuck and we can't move. Because that
Hmm.
situation, when you got that denial letter, could have easily made you feel like, you know what, this is not for me. And you could have given up,
Yeah.
but you stayed on course. You trusted the process. You continued to go and you persevered. And I commend you for that. And I have to give you a round of applause in conjunction with your flowers. That's why this segment is with you today. And these are your flowers, my brother. And I truly appreciate everything that you endeavored in. You being a family man, the way that you articulate how your wife is and the grace and beauty that she has bestowed to you and your family and just how she is as an individual and a woman, that is beautiful within itself. And your very precious children, I truly appreciate you even sharing this with me and sharing this dialogue in this session with me. I take this, what I'm saying, to my heart, and I truly appreciate it. And I want to say thank you, bro. Thank you very
I
much.
appreciate you, sis. No, it was my pleasure for real. For real. No doubt.
Thank you
It's been
very
a
much.
pleasure.
I just want to tell everybody that it's possible for you to be able to balance, you know, having a spouse with your children and working, especially in today. I understand there's inflation. I understand there's things that's happening in the world that can adversely affect some things that's going on in our lives. But just as long as you're still strong, just as long as you continue to believe in yourself, and just as long as you continue to be present with that balance and that equilibrium for yourself, it can be evenly distributed on an exterior with your family, with your personal and your professional development on all plethoras and all levels. And my brother is an example. So any of the gems that he dropped during this session, please pick them up and utilize them. That's tailor fitted to your lifestyles and your way of doing business. And I just want to say thank you again, my brother. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to share this session with me, to distribute to the people the extraordinary man that you are today and that you're going to continue to be. And I want to tell everybody thank you. Thank you for joining us on this fine evening. Tune in tomorrow because I will have Miss Sharon Allen. She is a former band director at Cass Tech High School, and we will be doing a Catalyst conversation together. So please tune in for that segment. It is definitely going to be dynamic, but I just want to say thank you guys again, and y'all be sure to enjoy the rest of your evening. Peace.
Appreciate you, sis.
Appreciate you, bro.